Well, hello, good evening, whiskey chums. It's been a wee while. It's Vic, the whiskey minister here, broadcasting live from Speyside, doing some more drams. I'm working my way through this year. I'm going to try and do 100 drams in 22, and I've been kind of lax the last wee while. I've done up to 4, and then I haven't done one for it seems like ages. So I thought, you know what? It's about time I got onto StreamYard and did another one of my 100 drams in 22. So I thought, what am I going to do tonight? Well, I'm going to do something slightly different. I'm actually going to have 3 drams. Yes, 3 drams. Now, you know me, every night I say drink responsibly, be safe. So, you know what, guys? I am not going to have 3 whole drams or 3 complete drams. I've poured myself really small ones and I'm just going to have a sip or two because it's just to get the flavours. Now, why am I doing 3 the same? Well, it's because I went for a wee trip last week on Friday. Myself and Nunzi, my beloved, went for a wee drive through Speyside and we ended up at the Glenlivet distillery. And we thought, we'll just have a look round. And then we decided after a few things, because of a few things, we decided we'd go in, and then we decided we'd go on the tour. So we did. It was a bit like a busman's holiday, but it was fantastic. I don't know if you've been up to Glenlivet recently, but they've done up the visitor centre, and it is absolutely fantastic. It's got a lovely display downstairs where you get the usual distillery thing now, where you get the history and the marketing and all that, and then you get a wee look around the distillery. Well, it's a bit like that at Glenlivet. There was lots of marketing stuff, but I absolutely loved it. Great videos to watch. The young lad who was doing the tour knew his stuff, and he was a local, and it was great. And I loved it downstairs because they've got, listen to this, an indoor barley field. You can put your hands at it's right barley. It's fantastic. It's really set up well. And of course, they've got the nice shop and the nice coffee shop and all that as well. So it's definitely worth a wee wander around if you're in the area. That's up at Glenlivet. Sorry, the Glenlivet. It was another one of these tours where they use the all the time. It's like the Glenmorangie, the Macallan, the Glenlivet. But no taking away from it, it was a fantastic tour. And myself and the Whiskey Widow, my wife Nancy, we got the drams, but like most distilleries now, you can get a driver pack. So we got our drams in wee bottles and took them home. So I'm going to do that quickly. I'm going to go through these 3 drams that we were given when we were at the visitor centre and just see what I like. So I'm going to taste tonight the 12, the 15, and the 18. And that's what you get on their, I say, bog standard tour, their entry level tour. A hefty 15 quid as well, by the way. But it's worth it because it's a really good tour. We're there for about an hour and a half, an hour and 3/4. So it's worth the money. So what about the drams? Well, I'm going to start with a 12. And I've always liked Glenlivet 12. I've got a bottle down there I bought ages ago before they stopped it in the UK and took out the Founders. I was never a fan of the Founders Reserve, but I always was a fan of the 12. So I was interested to see what the new 12 would be like. And it's how I remember it. It's just a face full of pears and green apples and vanilla. It's very fresh, floral, grassy. If it was a colour, it would be green. And it's lovely. It's that quintessential Glenlivet. Pears, apples, vanilla. Lovely. Matured in American and European oak. I'm really not detecting, that's what the website says, I'm really not detecting a lot of European oak there. If I had hazard a guess, I would have said 100% American ex-bourbon, but they say there's some European in there as well. So lovely, fresh, really nice smell. So what about the taste? Oh, see, that's a lovely, gentle, nice dram. It's not harsh. It's not difficult. It's easy drinking. Very sweet, very fruity. It's apples and pears again, and there's tropical fruits there. It's almost like a sort of pineapple-y note, just a little bit. Very sweet. Lots of vanilla, obviously, and it's a lovely, lovely dram. Very light, but then if it's mainly American oak, it's going to be quite light. So that was a 12, and that was dram number 5 in my 100 drams in 22. What about dram number 6? Well, this is the 15, and it's what's called the French Oak Reserve. And some of the spirit has matured in Limousin oak from France. It's a tiny, tiny bit darker. You can't really see it so much in the glass. You can in the bottle, but tiny little bit darker. You might be able to see that. And there's that pear, but something else. It's a bit bolder, this nose, a bit more rounded. It's a spicy note, a little bit of a toffee, sort of buttery kind of note on it as well. There's something there that I just can't put my finger on at the moment. Something different. I remember the first time I bought this, it was going cheap for whatever reason in Tesco or Asda. And it had 10, 15 quid off it. I can't remember. I think I bought it for about 20, 25 pounds. And it was a fantastic dram. I really enjoyed it, but I haven't seen it for a long time. Again, there's that pears and apples, but not in the forefront as with a 12. So let's have a taste. I should have let me just have a little sip of water. Let's have a taste of the 15, dram 6 of the year. Now that's really different. Wow. It's spicy on the tongue. There is a spiciness and vanilla there and a little bit of the fruits, but it's very creamy, very buttery, a different kind of mouthfeel. Well, how would you describe it? Silky, maybe? Mouthfeel? Don't know what I think about that compared to the 12. I think I prefer the 12. But it's a nice dram. It's got that Glenlivet background, the sort of esteriness with the fruits and the sweetness. But it's different. It's that French oak. And, you connoisseurs out there will know American oak's different from European oak. It's different from French oak, and different from Mizunara oak. So all these different species of oak have different, slightly different volatile compounds in them and different ratios one to another. So they're going to give you a different whiskey at the end of the day. And that must be what's given the different here in the 15 compared to the 12. See, there's that 12 again. It just sings, I am green. Apples and pears and fresh fruit. But the 15 is just not doing that. It's a bit more rounded, a bit spicier. And I'm not sure what I prefer. The 12, I think. So that's drams 5 and 6 for the year. What about drams 7? Well, obviously it's going to be the best one because it's the 18-year-olds. And I think a lot of people think like that with their whiskey. The older, the better. Sometimes for me, it's not. So what we've got in the 18 is, it does look a little bit darker. Been in the wood a lot longer, obviously. So the colour's coming from the wood. And this says, the website says this has got first and second fill American oak, but also ex-sherry casks. So traditionally, you get a little bit more colour out of sherry than you do out the American oak, out the ex-bourbon. So let's have a nose on this. That's completely different again. Oh, I'm trying to see if I can get those fruits that I was getting from the 12-year-old. Tiny hint of that maybe, but this is different. This is toffee notes. It's got citrus in it. There are raisins there as well. Kind of the influence from the sherry cask. So completely different. So what about the taste? Oh no, that's good. Oh yes. Oh, that's a delicious dram. It has a beautiful, thick, almost oily mouthfeel, silky, smooth mouthfeel. Very gentle going down. I haven't got the bottle, so I can't actually remember what ABVs these are. I'm assuming they're 40 to 44, 45. I don't think it'll go much higher than that. Oh, that is absolutely delicious. There's that beautiful vanilla coming from the American oak, but there's toffee, there's raisins, there's dried fruits, fresh fruits. There's so much going on in this dram. Really quite complex. But then you've got the different type of casks that's contributing different flavors. I'm going to have a second sip of this one. Oh, that's lovely. There's a little bit of fruit coming through that I was getting from the 12-year-olds. That's what you're getting from the fermentation. But then there's a lot coming through from the casks here. The lovely vanilla notes, the lovely toffee notes, buttery, creamy, dried fruit and raisins. And it's that beautiful finish of like sweet raisins that's hanging around. That's a beautiful finish. So there's my three drams. Interesting. All starting with the same new make spirit, all starting with the Glenlivet new make spirit. But we had the 12, the 15, and the 18. And it just shows you how time and the different types of wood has a huge impact on the whiskey that comes out the other end. So I would recommend all those three. If you're on a budget, the 12. If you're not on a budget, the 18. The 15 if you want, but definitely for me, it was the 18, the 12, and then the 15. I don't know what it was about that 15. Something slightly different didn't suit my palate tonight. So that was my three drams. That was 100 drams in 22. That was 5, 6, and 7. And that was from the Glenlivet distillery and the 12, the 15, and the 18-year-old. So I really enjoyed that. Looking forward to number 8. I'm not sure what that's going to be yet. I had another couple of gifts that I got over Christmas. I may use those. I found some samples the other day that I still haven't used yet. I got a couple of samples from students at the Whisky Academy and things like that. So I may use some of those, or I may go back to some of my old favourites. I've got my Ben Roma shelf. I've got my Glen Murray shelf. So I may just use some of those. You never know. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure. Good to speak to you again. I'll probably see you at the weekend sometime or the start of next week. If you're having a dram, please be responsible. You see that? I only had 4 sips there. That was good. So be responsible and stay safe. And I will see you all again very soon. Bye, folks. Cheers now.